Hi guys, this is my deck for City Snake format, which entered a online local tournament, which is held by the YGO from Zero YouTube channel. Now, the reason why some of these say one and I have more than one copy in here is because City Snake is involving, it's like Android format, but with cards from the Joey Pegasus deck added into it, but before the list for the Joey Pegasus format comes out. Which is why I have 3 Hoppy's Feather Duster, 3 Gracefulls, and more than 1 Sinister Serpent. Now, what I did for building this deck was that I took a look at some Android format decks and saw some good stuff for like Monster Beat stuff, which is why I have like the Bazoos, which the first printing evolved him to banish any card, not just monsters. Same with Kaiku. And also that printing error also happened to Skull there. So for my deck list, I have 2 Bazoos, the Soul Eaters, 3 Giant Rats, which these are supposed to help me get to my number of mangas after deck thinning. 1 Genzo, which is supposed to help deal with annoying traps, and also in case my opponent has an Imperial Order, that I could just tribute, summon Genzo, and then I can have spell cards online during my turn again when my opponent thought I couldn't use any. 2 Kaikus, this is more so for the banish stuff and to stop my opponent from powering up the Bazoos, since it stops the opponent from banishing stuff from either graveyard. 1 Magician of Face to help get back my powerful spell cards. 3 Mystic Tomatoes, which are supposed to help me get into Witch of Black Forest or Sangan, depending on which are still in the deck. 3 number of mangas for summoning monsters in case I have Jinzo in hand, and for life point gain, since quite a few of these spells require me to pay life points. Sangan for deck thinning and allow me to add any card, which could be a Sinister Serpent, or even could be a Cannon Soldier, which is in the side deck when I'm maining Cannon Soldier. 2 Sinister Serpents, so I can always get 1 back in my hand. Keep in mind that this is the pre-eroded version, where we do not have to banish another copy of Sinister Serpent to add it to our hand. 1 Witch of the Black Forest, and 2 Gemini Elves because of the having to be 1900 attack point beaters. For the spells, I have a Change of the Heart, which is supposed to help take my opponent's monsters and I can attack them with it. Or for Tribute Fodder for Jinzo, 1 Comfy so I can take a card out of the hand. Dark Hole for board wiping. The Duel for hand whips, but do have to be cautious of the opponent potentially having Sinister Serpent, which is a weakness to this because the entire hand is just 2 serpents. During the next one, they get the serpents back. 3 Graceful Charities for drawing, deck thinning, and Sinister Serpent is good discard fodder for it. Now, I have Hoppy's Feather Duster, which takes the place of the Heavy Storm, since this is only supposed to get rid of the opponent's spell and trap cards. A Monster Reborn, because some people on the Discord server from the YouTube channel YGO from Zero told me to be a good card. 3 MSTs for spell and trap removal. Painful Choice, Part of Greed. In fact, someone told me from the Discord server that I mentioned earlier that Premature Burial would be a good route because then I have more ways to get to Jinzo. Raigeki for opponent's field removal. Snatch Steal, take the opponent's monster and I can attack them with it. But at the same time, could be Tribute Fodder for Jinzo. And also take the annoying monsters. Forceful Sentry to immediately rip 1 card from their hand. Call of the Haunted for Graveyard Resurrection. IO to stop the opponent's spells, and since it's at a point where it is optional, I could even just activate it during my opponent's turn, and then destroy it during my turn so I can use my spells. Or keep it on field in case I want no one to use spells for multiple turns in case I have no spells in my hand. 2 draw greeds for drawing a card, a Mirror Force and a Skull Layer. Now, the reason why I have 2 draw greeds in a deck that's more than 40 cards is because I was told in the Discord server of YGO from Zero's City Snake format server that a lot of these cards were good cards, and I didn't know which cards to cut to get it back down to 40. And I was told Draw Greed is good, so I still just kept it in here, mainly for MST fodder. That I could set it, and if the opponent activates MST and destroying it, when the turn I set it, and I don't get to draw a card, I still, at least the MST was used on Draw Greed instead of cards like Mirror Force, IO, or Skull Layer, or even Call of the Haunted. Now, for the side deck, I have a Cannon Soldier, which I was told from the Discord server is good for burn damage. The reason why it's in my side deck and not my main deck is because of, well, placements, but at the same time, this would only be good in deck to get out of Mystic Tomato, and if I open draw it, it's not as good anymore because, well, it's in my hand and I can no longer special summon it off of Mystic Tomato. But it is still good for burn damage in the late game. Cyberjaw for mass field removal and 2 good resources, which is good for the resources, but in the tournament for City Snake format, that didn't happen, and I should have said another monster. 2 Morphing Jaws number 2s, mainly because I heard that in the Discord server that the jaws are good in this format. And also mainly to help get rid of annoying monsters, like if the... And I also think it's good to get rid of annoying monsters, like if the opponent has a Jinzo, Kaiku, or a Bazoo, and then they just attack into this, the monsters will be shuffled back. And since it's only cards activate the same number of monsters that they have, if, let's say, they only had Jinzo, and Jinzo goes back and they shuffle their deck, and the first monster that's milled is Jinzo, it does not get special summoned. Dark Hole for mass field removal, 2 more Harpy's Feather Dusters in the side deck, more so for to put it in there for more spell and trap removal in case if opponent is using a lot of cards like Call of the Haunted and Skull Layers. 3 Scapegoats because it's a great defensive option. 1 Swords Forbidden Light for stalling. 2 Light Force Swords for Hand Whip for hand control. TT for field removal on the opponent's turn, but keep in mind, this does not work against Jinzo. So you want to make sure that your opponent still would only have Norway Tribute Summon Jinzo, or if they only normal summon any other monster besides Jinzo, then TT is good. And 1 more Skull Layer. Mainly because Skull Layer is good, and depending on what decks you're up against in City Snake format, well, you can't hurt to have another Skull Layer. Now, for the extra deck, it doesn't matter what you're running. I just put cards in the extra deck so that then my opponent doesn't know or have any ideas about what deck I'm using right away. So this could literally just be any legal card for City Snake format, and you're good. Well, that concludes my deck profile. In the description and in the comment section, I will post a link to the stream where this is being held, and once the stream ends, and I can tell what time in the stream that my deck was shown, because yes, my deck was shown in the stream for a duo. I'll post that there so you guys can go see how my deck went. That's all. Bye!